Welcome back, citizens. Today we're going to go over the roadmap update for Alpha 4.1 as well as 1.0, and it's a mix of both promising additions and some disappointments. While we're receiving a ton of new playable content for Pyro, along with continued improvements to game stability, some expected features have been pushed further down the line. Let's break it all down. First up, we're getting a new mission giver in the verse, bringing fresh opportunities for players to explore. Alongside this, a specifically designed location is being introduced to host the mission giver, meaning a new point of interest for players will need to travel to in order to engage with these missions. What remains to be seen, however, is whether these missions will be PvE, PvP, or a mix of both. Time will tell. We're also getting a new armor set that's being added, described as rugged, stylish, and designed for brave adventurers. While this is a small feature, it could be interesting if it offers something unique beyond aesthetics. It's also possible this is a reward for the above new mission giver, but we'll see. One of the bigger updates for me involves ship combat missions with a focus on refining scenario design and improving storytelling elements around them. This could mean more dynamic engagements, shaking up space and atmospheric dogfights that have remained fairly similar for a long time. If implemented well, this could breathe new life into combat missions that have honestly become a bit routine. Now onto the potential big ticket item. This one right here. Let me just put it on the screen here for a moment. The way it's described strongly suggests it could be the Valakkar, mentioned in the most roundabout way possible. If it lives up to the hype built at SitCon last year, this could make 4.1 one of the most exciting patches we've had in a long time. One interesting addition that could create some unique mission types is the Hathor ground alignment stations and Hathor mining space stations. And the space station mentions a mining laser. Out of curiosity, I jumped on Galactopedia. Hathor was a human mining company known for using highly destructive mining techniques that left planets desolate before they eventually went bankrupt. This could indicate a mission chain where players take control of a mining laser to extract valuable materials by doing an orbital strike, or alternatively they could simply serve as set pieces for other mission types. I'm gonna hope for the first one. Either way, it has the potential to bring some intriguing gameplay to the verse. And finally, additionally, we're getting the Volt AR Parallax and Volt SMG Quartz, which I'll go ahead and throw up on the screen. The posts about these weapons emphasize unique tactical potential, so it'll be interesting to see how they shake up FPS combat. Otherwise, these look very cool and people have been waiting on them for a very long time. But even with all this good news, there's definitely a bit of bad news here. Unfortunately, the 4.1 update makes no mention of several features that were previously expected within the 4.0 cycle. Many of them have been pushed to the 1.0 cycle instead. Here's a list of things that have been pushed into the 1.0 patch cycle: charge and drain, engineering gameplay, fire hazard, FPS radar and scanning, hangar upgrades, item misfire and wear, life support, location repair missions, quantum boost, radiation, solar flares, vehicle radar and scanning reworks, and finally weapon overheat. Like many in the community, I feel somewhat let down by this. I didn't expect major overhauls to core systems in 4.1, especially given they put an emphasis on polish, but I did sort of expect engineering, fire hazards, life support, and solar flares to make it in sooner rather than later. All of these being pushed in 1.0 seems a little bit strange. CIG clarified in a blog post that seemingly everything that's been pushed to 1.0 is simply there as a placeholder. All that effectively means is that will be in the game by 1.0, but that does leave the timeline still very unclear. Many of these features have been showcased multiple times in the past, and they seem like they were poised for release alongside 4.0, or at least in the near future. Now it kind of seems up in the air. That said, despite being thin on system updates, 4.1 is shaping up to be content rich, and who knows, some of the features pushed to 1.0 may get bumped up sooner than expected. While 4.1 isn't delivering everything we'd hoped for, it still looks like it brings a solid amount of new content to explore. From new missions and locations to enhanced combat experiences, there's plenty to be excited about. Let's see how it plays out when the update drops. Thanks for tuning in again, and I'll catch you in the verse.